Alright, just wanted to do a very quick video. Something that crossed my mind earlier today. Like I said, sometimes I see things on social media or I hear things on TV or whatever the case may be. And it just causes me to have all these random thoughts. And I was trying to come up with, a top 10 list things that you just really shouldn't take black women serious on. And I kind of narrowed it down to the top 3 because I feel like they're the maybe not the most important, but the most relevant. And the top 3, in no particular order, is cultural appropriation, slavery, and relationships. Relationships is a little bit more open-ended, but I'll later explain that one. The first one I want to attack, and like I said, there's no 1, 2, or 3. These are just the top 3 in my view, my perspective. Cultural appropriation is the biggest pile of malarkey that black women argue about white women or Arab women or any other woman that is not considered black wearing what they would call quote-unquote black hairstyles. Yet and still, you never hear Persian women, Asian women, white women, Chinese women talk about how black women are culturally appropriating their hairstyles. Because at the end of the day, a black woman without chemicals, without hair product, and without weaves and sew-ins, their hair looks nothing like what they present. They actually look more non-black than black. And yet, there's no argument, there's no outcry when Sean King sports the Caesar haircut, which makes him look like he's biracial at best. They don't complain about when white men show up with dreadlocks, or when Arab men, especially in New York, wear the New York Yankee hat, the Timbs, and the baggy jeans, which most dudes these days is wearing them skinny jeans. But whatever you want to consider a black man's style, they never outcry when a non-black man is wearing those styles. So how can cultural appropriation go only in one direction when it's the female counterpart that is non-black doing it, but when it's the non-black male counterpart doing it, it's almost cheered on. So you should never take black women serious on cultural appropriation. The second thing, slavery. Let's get everything in perspective and in order. Maybe the first generation, those that were captured and lost their freedom, lost their dignity, lost their virginity, lost their whatever you want to call it, their purity, those women were the only women who truly did, I don't want to say embrace, because that's a little bit too insulting. But let's say resist. Over time, when this atrocity continued to keep happening, and when they keep saying how they carried black men and the black race through slavery by allowing the master to rape them so that the family could live or be together, let me make this very clear. And the movie 12 Years a Slave highlighted it. There were black women who were jockeying for a less strenuous position. And the less strenuous position was to do the 5 wide receiver eagle spread and allow the master to then run a sneak play, the quarterback sneak, right up the middle. That's what it was. Don't let this bullshit on TV and in media and the Jewish media movie makers try to paint this as if there was this constant 100-year resistance towards slavery. There wasn't. There was almost like a inevitable acceptance of it that permeated throughout the black race during slavery. People get mad when Kanye West says 400 years sounds like it was a choice. I don't disagree with that. You may disagree with that because you're thinking with your emotions. When you think logically, would you tolerate being married to someone for 40 years who constantly cheats on you? Constantly coming up or constantly getting other women pregnant while allegedly being married to you? Would you tolerate that? Would you accept that? Most of you would probably say no, especially if you're a woman. You wouldn't tolerate your man cheating on you, getting other women pregnant, and you are just still married to them after 40 years. You made a choice at that point to then stay with that person. Just like if someone beats the shit out of you, you make a choice to stay with that person. You can run and never look back. You can keep running and never look back. Now, some slaves did. Some slaves rebelled. A lot of slaves rebelled. Of course, they're not going to tell this in history because you don't want to keep the base people. You want to keep the base people base. You don't want them to realize, yeah, we can fight this back. But I'm going to tell you, just like in the movie 12 Years a Slave, there were a lot of black women who were like that. Who, if they gave the master enough pussy, they then became almost like an overseer over the other blacks. This is well documented. This is why some black people have no problem saying, Benjamin Franklin's our great-great-great-grandfather. They take pride in that shit. Because they got a position that was a little bit less strenuous than the other niggas. And last but not least, and again, this is not 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3, is the topic of relationships. You should never take what a black woman tells you seriously these days. Because a lot of it is wanting to limit the options of what black men have. And I will tell you this. As a black man who's lucky to find a black woman to be married to and not trying to fuck me over and really trying to build something with me, I'm blessed. But let me make it very clear. Vast majority of black women have no interest in building anything with black men. They really want the black men to build it, and then they want to come up pregnant so that they can then take all of which that man has built away from him. But then at the same time telling you white women will get you in trouble and take your money. When Brian Banks got in jail because a black woman lied about rape. Tupac got put in jail because some of his other friends raped a chick. Black chick, right? So all these cases of black women claiming rape of black men who didn't actually rape them, but maybe just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's okay. But somehow a white woman will take all your money and put you in jail. When there's more black men on child support and have been to jail because of lack of paying child support due to black women, not saying that's solely a black woman thing, but it's a vast majority. Let's not kid ourselves. So when a black woman tells you, and again, this is coming from a person who doesn't necessarily believe in interracial dating, but one thing I will always be is fair. And the thing at the end of the day is, whether you believe in it or whether you don't believe in it, no one has the right to tell you who you can and cannot be with. Now, at the end of the day, if you choose to be with someone of a different race, that could cause some conflict. That could cause some friction. And you have to be willing and able to just accept that responsibility or accept the consequences of your actions. Period. The end. But to sit there and act like one race does something more than the other when the race that man is from does it more often than the race that they're saying does it, Because you know what? I know a lot of white women that have black baby daddies, and they don't have them on child support. And they're not trying to put them on child support, and they're not trying to put them in jail because of lack of child support. So these are the top 3 things that you should never take black women serious on. Because at the end of the day, they do it more than anyone else, and they just don't want anyone else to do it. Because I forgot to even mention that there's a whole swirling movement dedicated solely for black women. And they're proud of it. They're a proud swirler. But black men, you better don't even let your thought think about being with someone who's non-black. Because then you are a sellout. But just like what they said during slavery, well, they let the master rape them. Yeah, whatever. All right, I'm out. Just wanted to drop this. Hopefully I made some people think. It is what it is. I'm out.